Hello, I'm Steph.
And I'm Joel.
And welcome to Framed
Canvas Cuffs.
and Other Stuffs.
Season 2, baby.
Woo!
We're back. We're back. Can you believe it?
Bolly I do.
Olé adieu.
Oh.
Enjoy the episode.
Right. So Joel.
Hi.
How are ya?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good.
It's been a minute.
It has.
It's been a few weeks now. We're technically, at the moment, we're like on break.
Yes.
Our 2-week break.
2-week
which
break.
essentially just means we're just recording anyway so we can bank things up so we're not chasing our tails.
Yes, we're just giving ourselves a little bit of
How does
breathing
it
room.
catch up? I feel like we record all the time. How does it catch up?
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand
Because
time
it's just
and
like
space.
1 week I'm just like, oh, it's the episode that we recorded like a month and a half ago. And then the week later it's just like, oh, next week.
And you're like,
Last week's episode is out. Oh, well, what?
Yeah, time is strange.
Time's crazy.
Oh my God, is it linear?
What is time?
What is time? It's a construct. What's news? Oh, let's talk about the big news that came out yesterday. And I don't.
My Labubu?
Oh, sure. Should we talk about your Labubu?
Classic Joel late to the party, and also classic me a couple of weeks ago being like, I'm really starting to feel my age, having like an age crisis. And then I come dressed completely in Gen Z with a Labubu tied around my waist.
Hey, you kids.
Am I having a crisis? I just think they're cute.
I think they're cute.
And I know that there's a lot of discourse, people like with anything that becomes popular, there's always like the things become popular and then people are like, I hate that popular thing. That's so following the crowd,
yeah.
sheeple and all that. I just think they're neat. And I think they're not causing any harm. Well, except for the people who get like stabbed over them and stuff. But people are getting robbed for these things.
Okay.
Like held at knife point and stuff.
Jesus.
But I just think they're cute little thingies.
You want to show off your little boo-boo?
Yeah, it's technically its name is ZZ, but I've named it Felicity.
Felicity?
Yeah. It just looked like a Felicity. Little sleeping Labubu.
Now, for those of you who are listening to the audio, this is a good time to come on over to the YouTube. To
I
check
like
out.
you don't know what a Labubu is, by the way. You can't escape them.
Can't escape a Labubu.
I just think they're really cute and I think they're harmless and it's just a nice little thing. Like whenever you're stressed out, it just rub its little belly.
Aw.
Except the weird thing is, do you notice anything strange about the Labubu? Maybe between me down there?
Oh, is it got like abs?
It seems like it's got a little vagina.
Or is it like, it's almost like little vagina or little abs?
Because I was sitting down.
Like,
I put Felicity on my mantelpiece, and I was just looking at her, and I'm just like, does she have her labussy out? I'm like, is this a design thing? Anyway, I just think it's cute. I think they're doing no harm. Well, for the most part, and
You're allowed to have a little bit of joy. We're not trying to take.
Let people like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let people like things.
Yes.
None of your business.
None of your business.
And yeah, Lockie and I went to we go to these like collectible toy fairs because he collects, as we know, he collects the vintage Barbies and all of that kind of stuff. And we've both kind of found joy in going to these like vintage toy collector fairs. I think I've talked about them on the pod before. So we went to one last weekend, and now even when I go, I'm on the lookout for specific things too now, because I've noticed there's like a few Jurassic Parky things floating around, some like collectibles and things like that. So I've been keeping my eyes out for those kinds of things. I found a little die-cast model of a Ford Explorer from the original Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah.
And it's like little 30th anniversary edition
Easy.
box. It looks nice. That's on our mantelpiece. And yeah, walked past a little station and this guy was selling Labubus that he bought online.
Love that.
Yeah, we checked they were legit. We scanned the QR code.
Love that.
Yeah, it's got a bit of heft to it. It's not
Not a fake labubu.
which are called lafufus.
Maybe I should start collecting lafufu. I'm just really into the fakes. I'm like, I don't want a real one.
I can hear people's eyes rolling into the back of their heads with me talking about labubus.
Labubus.
I can already see the comments on TikTok. Let me like stuff.
Yeah. Stop trying to take my labubu away from me.
Am I coming in too hot?
No, I like it.
Okay, good.
You can be on your labubu train.
Okay. But yeah.
Don't worry, I got called.
What was the question? How have I been?
Have you been? What's a labubu?
No, you said let's talk about the
news.
big news.
Did you hear that Anna Wintour is stepping back as editor-in-chief of Vogue?
No.
Oh.
Didn't come across my desk.
Didn't come across your desk? Well, let me put it in front of you. Yeah, it was announced yesterday she's no longer going to be the editor-in-chief of Vogue. She's still going to stay with Condé Nast, be like within their department.
Okay.
But she will step back by the end of the year, I think.
I wonder how long has she been doing it for?
Yeah, she stepped in as editor-in-chief in 1988.
Yeah,
So
right.
Quite a few years.
Mm.
So far, I think the people tipped to take over, there's the editor-in-chief of British Vogue, who was the woman who took over 20-something, and she was the first black female editor-in-chief of Vogue. Another woman who's currently the Architectural Digest editor, I think.
Would you rather UK Vogue or US Vogue to be the head person of? I'd want UK.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm.
I think that you can do a bit more.
No, I'd want it at Italy. I'd want it Vogue Italia.
Oh, Vogue Italia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is their opportunity to put someone quite different in. Like, because if you put someone in who's similar, it's always going to be compared to Anna.
Yeah.
If you do something totally different, then it's like less comparison, more just like, let's see what they do.
Yeah, right.
Because it's such a coveted role. But we'll see. But yeah, wait and see. Oh my God.
Yeah, I wonder who it's going to be.
Who knows? We'll find out.
Sonia Kruger, she's everywhere.
Oh, you know
She's
what?
always doing stuff.
I was going to say Shayna Blaze.
Shayna Blaze.
She'd be great.
Yes.
But
Put a fire pit in there and make a skylight.
perfect.
Have I talked about it, that she's singing now, Shayna Blaze?
No.
Yeah, she's launched a music career. And
Stop.
she's been performing live and the staging is set up like a living room.
That's actually
I'm
amazing.
not kidding. So Shayna Blaze, for those who are listening, for our listeners in Kenya.
Yeah.
Which we do have randomly.
Hello.
Shayna Blaze is an interior designer who's on the block, or she's a decorator or something. I don't know. She's always putting a fire pit in the room.
She loves it.
She loves the skylight. Yeah, she's started a music career later in her years, and yeah.
What kind of music is she doing?
I think it's a bit of adult contemporary. I think it's a bit
Is it a bit Countess Luanny like cabaret, or is it a bit more like
I don't know. I haven't delved that deep into it. I haven't listened to her catalog. I don't know if they're originals, if they're covers. It's like, Meet Me at the Kitchen Island. If they're all related to like
if they
living
were
room.
all somewhat interior design related, that is amazing.
Meet Me at the Kitchen Island. Her Calypso one.
It's like she goes style. It's like in Drag Race when they've got to choose a style. They're like reggae.
Yeah.
All right, talk about the lounge room.
Water feature.
Yeah. Amazing. That is bizarre.
Yeah.
I love that she's just started a career singing. Not see that coming.
Yeah. So
good on you, Shayna.
new person for Vogue.
You're in.
Coming along.
This is a long plan.
I feel like I haven't, like, the whole fashion industry, and I used to be so into back in the day. Like, I did so much, photography, and I was just obsessed with editorials. I used to collect magazines, Oyster, Dazed and all of those kinds of really, really into it. But now, as I've gotten on in my years, it's kind bit of a backseat, and I'm not as in tune anymore as what I used to be. But yeah, I still find it relatively interesting. Yeah.
I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like I'm
delved more into
it, and like I care about like who's the creative director of certain brands. I'll watch where they go and how that works, ifs, and how, you know, it's kind of all just people moving from one house to the next.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting. Yeah. I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of those.
Yeah, I'd love to reel in a bit more of that passion that I used to have about it.
Got your Labubu passion.
Well,
so you've got to just stick to that for now. Can't have too many hobbies.
Switch things up, haven't I? Back in the day when I was a young male model around Melbourne and looking at all the fashion magazines.
Now you're like, Labubu.
Now,
hey, Cher's got a Labubu.
Does she really?
Yeah, she stepped out to an event. She had a Labubu on her bag.
Labubu.
Oh, she just releases a whole album.
You kind of look like a Labubu with your little hat. Yeah.
I am a little Labubu.
Yeah. Just needs this little okay, one more thing about Labubu.
Yeah.
I know everyone's had these for ages. They don't want to hear me talk about it, but there's been this kind of meme going around with I think they're like kind of Christian people. Relating Labubus to Pazuzu, the smiling demon.
What?
And they're these. So Pazuzu is one of the I don't know, the main demons.
You know what are those demons? He's the main event.
And all the depictions of him and stuff, like he's smiling, he's got this kind of like wide face, like cheeky kind of smile and whatever. And someone's put a picture of a Labubu next to
just morphing.
Pazuzu. And my God, they do look similar.
Oh.
So I don't know if that was maybe on the
speaking in tongues.
Yeah. I don't know if Pazuzu might have been on the mood board when they were designing these things, but that even intrigues me more to them, because I'm just like, oh, these evil little bastards. Look at them. Anyway,
I love it.
Yeah,
you could do a whole episode on the.
Oh, but no.
Why not?
Nah, it's not our audience. It's not our audience.
Yeah, fair.
It's not our audience that will be rolling their eyes. Bloody Labubus.
Skip that episode.
Yeah, skip it. Shut up, Joel. Yeah.
Shut your mouth about Labubus.
Yeah, we want to hear about Anna Wintour.
Oh dear. Right. Shall we jump into this week's episode?
Yeah.
Got my excessively large font.
Yeah, so Steph and I both simultaneously when we were doing our research for our upcoming episodes, decided without contacting each other that we were going to make our fonts size 16.
And so now, hopefully, do you know why I did it?
Because they all blend together and you
get
all
it's
like
harder
blah, blah, blah.
and I feel like maybe it will slow me down a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is just, we get lots of lovely comments. We get lots of lovely people. The hate comments are always the loudest.
Yeah.
And someone on our YouTube said it was me reading.
YouTube?
On our YouTube. Thank you very much. It was like a short.
For engaging on the YouTube.
Yeah,
we don't get many looks on that thing.
I know. You should though, because there's some funny edits.
Yeah.
And
our outfits.
Yeah. And they said, can't tell if you're terrible at reading or illiterate, which.
Oh my God.
I went, but this is shocking.
I told my mum to stop commenting.
I said, Debbie. I went,
damn.
And I almost went to respond and I just went, not worth it.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
I was like, which one? So I almost actually wrote little from column A, little from column B. And then I went, don't. But then maybe I will.
That's oh my God.
Nasty. Sassy unknown user.
Yeah.
And you're like, go to their profile and it's just nothing.
Look, honestly, in comparison to, other podcasts and
doing
things
fine.
like that, our hate comments, which we do take to heart for some reason, are really not that bad.
It's like, so that's why I have a size 16 font.
Because I feel like we go like, the haters, ha ha ha, we don't. But then if we get like one comment, we're like, yeah, and you know what?
or single
We spiral
tear.
and then we say we don't care anymore, but then we get into it again.
Yes, exactly. You know what? It's just a part of it, isn't it? You're going to feel offended if someone says something offensive.
I think we should gear up for this one with the laboo of it all that I brought.
Can't wait to.
Yeah.
I need to clip down the into TikTok so we really get comments going. Alrighty, Joel. So I'm bringing you a story because over the weekend I went to Tasmania.
That's right.
I'd never been to.
Oh, I'm such a bitch. I just go yap about myself and I didn't even ask you about Tasmania.
Ties in perfectly.
Okay, great.
I'd never been to Tassie before. Highly recommend. It's a lovely place to go. While we were there, went to Mona for the first time. We did the silly lunch where you go in and there's like performance art like happening around you at the
silly lunch.
It's like okay, so it's a restaurant they have there.
Mona is the Museum of Modern Art in Tasmania.
For those who are listening in Kenya.
Yes.
So when there is a restaurant within the museum, and we booked that because so you order all this stuff. It's a normal restaurant. It's beautiful views. However, within the restaurant there is like performance art. So don't know what you're getting, but there was this witchy draped woman in all black coming around to the tables, and I could not stop laughing. I thought it was so funny. She came and made eye contact with SJ for about 3 minutes, and they both started laughing. I got the perfect video of her walking past the table, and she was just like,
that's kind of funny.
It's very like taking the piss.
Yeah, okay.
The whole vibe is taking the piss, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's either arting so hard, but I think there's a little tongue in cheek.
Yes, okay.
So
performance art, makes my
it can make your body
makes
just
my asshole tighten a little bit. It's a bit cringy.
Yeah, it's almost like they've gone, let's make it as like cringy as possible.
Like I'd imagine you're all sitting down for lunch and then there's like someone going around in a pig mask, like oinking.
Yeah, it wouldn't have shocked me if that happened. And I think
eat up, swine.
Oink oink, bacon on
with
the
like
menu.
Bjork music playing.
Yeah, it was very that. Like at one point she sat on an empty table and pretended to have a meal. It was, but I think you got to be in on the joke.
Yeah.
Or if you're
it's
not.
like going to Disneyland and seeing the characters walking around.
It really made me cackle. Like I was laughing out loud. And the food.
Yeah, you're very like that in those scenarios. You get the giggles. You get the church giggles.
I get the church giggles.
Oh, yeah.
And once I had in the morning forgotten to take my medication. So it had been a day. So I was on a real ride in this whole thing. Not the place to go.
There wasn't even a witch lady there.
They're like, you're just on the worst come down of your life, gal. While we were there, I was like, well, I'm going to talk about a story that I'd had in the back of my mind, but I'd wanted to have gone to the museum before I talked about it. So do you know anything about the story of Mona being created?
Not a single thing.
All right. So let me tell you a little bit about it, Joel. It's a privately funded art museum located in Tasmania, and it is the largest privately funded museum in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was founded by David Walsh, who is a professional gambler,
okay,
art collector, and businessman. So he funded most of Mona through gambling.
How can you be a professional gambler?
I think there is some counting cards. Allegedly, there's probably some counting cards happening.
Because the whole point of gambling, I mean, like you can be good at gambling.
Yeah.
Because it's all by chance.
Or is it? I'm sure there's some tact to gambling.
Surely. It depends what game you're playing, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, don't do it on the pokies.
It's not professional pokies.
Yeah. He's not playing the slots every day and he's like, can't wait to get that 74 million so I can open up my own art gallery.
How fun are pokies? Anyway.
So he describes himself as an atheist, and he built Mona to kind of... Ooh.
I'm pinging with why.
Yeah.
Because Tasmania is so churchy.
There is an element of that, yes.
Yeah, he like made his own chapel, his own cathedral.
Yeah, so it also was because he felt guilty from making millions from gambling without making a positive mark on the community.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a nice, you could spin it that way.
Okay.
He is a very interesting person in himself. The way he thinks about gambling and stuff, it's kind of like he's like, it's not a good thing. It produced a good thing in being able to create this place. And I must say, so when you go to Mona, we caught the ferry into the gallery, and you have to walk up these like big, beautiful stairs through this kind of rock face. But when you actually get in the gallery, you've got to go all the way down to the bottom to start. So it's actually built within the cliffs, which is really – the building itself is actually fantastic, regardless of whether there's art in it or not. It's just a beautifully done thing. He created it so it would kind of sneak up on visitors and give like a sense of, you know, danger and like mystique because there's no windows and it's kind of got this ominous atmosphere. And it has no traditional labels on any of the artwork. You can get an app called the O, which was a great app because when you're near the artwork, you can like press a button and it will tell you what's around you. But there's no actual like little plaque. Which is very interesting. It's all very dark and like moody and mysterious.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. It's very art wanky, but in a great way.
Yep.
It houses more than 1,900 works from his private collection, which is valued at over $100 million in around 2011. So it's probably worth more now.
Wowzers.
The building itself cost, I think, about $74 million to create. And it is a spectacular looking place. Initially, Mona was free for everyone. However, they have introduced an entry fee. Interestingly, it's only for interstate or overseas visitors. If you are a Tasmanian, you don't have to pay.
I was going to say, most people are overseas.
Yeah, there's not a huge population in Tassie.
Yeah.
They also have a unique eternity membership. So for a cool $75,000, you get free lifetime admission and you can have your cremated remains be housed at the Mona Cemetery.
Oh, they have a cemetery. That's cool.
Mona then also hosts the annual.
Pricey, though.
Yeah, a bit pricey. But you know what?
How many times do you need to go?
Yeah. But I feel like you're getting some perks, surely.
Yeah.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
So they also host the annual Dark Mofo, which is a music and arts festival. These festivals showcase public art and live performances, which also has kind of brought an extra layer of tourism to Tassie, which is fabulous. However, with such a avant-garde contemporary museum, there is always going to be some controversy that comes along, especially in the modern art world. So there are a few kind of controversies that has arisen since arose. It's a anyway, controversies. 2013, during the first Dark Mofo Festival, 7 people were hospitalized after suffering seizures from a light installation. So that was shut down by health authorities immediately because they didn't put any warnings out. So
flashing light warnings. Like that Pokemon episode that made everyone flip out.
Really?
Yeah. There's a banned episode of Pokemon where for those Pokemon heads at home, I think it's Polygon.
Oh.
Which is the type of Pokemon, and it's very like cyber. The episode, and there's like flashing lights. Apparently, all these people who watched it had seizures. Yeah,
my goodness.
Even I think people who'd never had any history of epilepsy and whatever could be totally making that part up. But yeah, it was a big story at the time.
Oh, would you watch the episode?
Yeah. I'm all right with flashing lights.
Yeah, me too. Censored artworks in 2016. There was a series of artworks that were removed after complaints from local art students because they were a bit too risque. When we were there was a portion where it was an adults only section, and when you went, because there was a literal bullet wound that kind of looked like an asshole. There was like vagina walls.
Vagina wall. I know about vagina wall.
So there's all these kind of
wall of vaginas.
The wall of Lavubu. So that was the next controversy. In 2017, animal rights activists protested a performance piece by Herman Nicht, who created which involved participants writhing in entrails of a slaughtered bull.
Oh, God.
So at the
art people, right?
Dark Mofo creative director Lee Carmichael clarified that the animal would be slaughtered humanely before the performance.
It was slaughtered for the performance?
Mm-hmm. And then the meat would be eaten afterwards. And the kind of talking, it's all about, there's probably some big art spiel about it. And everyone said, do we have a humane way of slaughtering animals?
Yeah, no.
So that was...
I don't, I'm not a vegetarian or anything like that, but,
I know I should be, but I'm not.
If I was a bull, I'd be like,
really?
I'd rather do it I'd rather go how everyone else is. I don't want a bunch of art weirdos rolling around in my guts.
So that was, very... Very
I do remember. I think I do. It was a big thing.
There's another one which was also a big thing which involves
something else
blood.
To do with blood. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So in 2018, there was so for Dark Mofo, what kind of a lot of the symbol is, it's an inverted cross.
Yep.
So in 2018, there was petitions from the Australian Christian Lobby around removal of the inverted cross displayed around Hobart during the festival. And there was a giant one at the harbour when we were there.
You have to see hundreds of uninverted crosses.
Exactly. Let's bring on a little bit of devilishness.
Pazuzu.
Then in 2021, Dark Mofo faced significant criticism for commissioning Santiago Sierra's Union flag, which was a Spanish artist, and it was a work of art that intended to immerse a British Union Jack flag in blood donated by First Nations people, because it's kind of just talking about the colonization of,
The blood was donated by First Nations people?
Yeah, so they wanted the blood to be donated by First Nations people. So the artist is Spanish.
Yeah.
They commissioned the work here, and what they did is they asked First Nations people of Australia to donate their blood, but then dip the flag in.
Yeah, I understand the symbolism.
Yes, the first layer of this is they put out an announcement accompanied by the text, "We want your blood," and then people could, if they wanted to, First Nations people could donate their blood to this art installation, and everyone was like, no, especially because the artist was not a First Nation, was First Nation Australian.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of strong negative reactions from Indigenous artists of Australia who deemed it culturally insensitive and harmful.
A bit exploitative.
Yeah, and they said it was all talk, no show, kind of it's we get the context, but are you the right person to make this message?
Yes.
And
yeah, exactly.
B, is it is this the right way to do it?
Yeah.
You can have these conversations, but is this the way to do it? Asking people for blood? I don't know.
And also, it's just not the type of art that I'm in.
Yeah, exactly.
Putting their blood on canvas.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't like all that stuff.
Yeah. So the creative director again, Lee Carmichael, who we remember from a little bit further up, initially defended the project, but then cancelled the work in 2021 before and apologised for the hurt caused, and they took full responsibility. The positive outcome of this was it led to them appointing someone, a First Nations cultural advisor. So when it comes to Dark Mofo now, there is a First Nations cultural advisor to make sure that we're not doing stuff like that.
All that blood went to waste.
Well, no one donated, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, so they cancelled it prior to them donating. Okay.
The blood.
So what do you do with all that
They're
blood?
just pouring it out into the ocean.
into the sea.
See?
In the soil, like blood's good for mulch.
Yeah, exactly. So this brings us, we're almost to today's story, because this is it's not too long of a story, but the more recent and the story I was thinking of with all of this happened in 2023, which was the story of a I guess, a piece of art or an art installation that ended up in front of the Supreme Court.
Ooh.
I know. Picture this, Joel. You step into a world of lush extravagance. It's an emerald draped cube where thick silk curtains enclose a private sanctuary. It's beautiful. There is soft light. There's marble. There's a chandelier. It really is opulent with gold accents. There's a plush velvet sofa that's also kind of phallic shaped. It's all very like luxurious. There's a little bit, there's some art on the walls. This is called the Ladies' Lounge. It's an art installation that first opened its doors in 2020, and it was conceived as a sanctuary exclusively for women. It's designed to offer a rare glimpse of what it would be like to be advantaged rather than disadvantaged. So here, women could indulge in decadent nibbles, like champagne and other ladylike pleasures. They were served by male butlers who lived to serve them, and they were often offered massages and things like that. So
is this an art piece?
This is an art piece. It's a lounge.
These spas exist.
Yeah, exactly. The lounge housed some of Mona's most notable and acclaimed works, including antiquities and also a Sydney Nolan artworks created by Sydney Nolan. And at its opening, it was also said to feature works by Pablo Picasso, or at least one. This space is more than just a luxurious day spa. It's a profound statement. The artist and curator, Kishala.
Pretty name.
Yeah, very pretty. Created this flipped universe, I guess is what she called it. So it was inspired by Australia's history where women were banned from public bars until 1965.
Yes. And even then they had they wouldn't serve them like full beers. They would only serve them like half beers with lemonade, and that's how like the shandy came about.
My auntie enjoys a real shandy.
So do I, actually. I remember my dad giving me a shandy when I was quite young.
And you said, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah. But I think they were limited to like maybe one drink, and then they had to go by a certain time. Like it was still very mandated.
Yeah. So I guess this artwork was kind of taking on that thought process of, you know, if we had reset this and we kind of flipped it on its head, what if there is a space or a club? Because there's always those clubs, especially like when you think like, you know, old, I guess.
Gentlemen's club,
old Americana kind of
mahogany.
vibe. Yeah, a lot of mahogany, a lot of cigars,
a
lot of talking about stocks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a flip of that, and it's designed to highlight historic misogyny and challenges existing inequalities. So the experience of men being refused entry was intended to be part of the artwork itself, turning their rejection into a central element in this exhibit. So you could only enter this exhibit if you were anyone who identified as female.
Yep. I've got a point of view, but you might touch on it later.
Tell me your points of view.
So my thing is she's put together an ultra feminine space that's almost like things that would be stereotypical for a female to enjoy. Nibbles, this and that, like pretty things, chandeliers and whatever. Isn't that kind of feeding into the stereotype of what women should like?
I think as well, I guess maybe, and I don't know the answer to this, but maybe because if you think about a gentleman's club, it's not a stripper, not the gentleman's club, but it's all, like we said, mahogany. You've got those stereotypical ideals of what that is.
Yeah.
If you flip that, the female version is that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so she's trying to make the counter to the whereas if I feel like a statement was to be made, it'd be really cool if it still had the aesthetic of a gentleman's club, but it was women only.
Yeah, I think
and the women could have cigars.
Yes.
And that, I think that would be kind of
a bit more
But that's just a different
version
of it. But
there are, I guess, when we come to certain things, when it comes to feminist work, there's always going to be a bit of clunkiness around it as well. Like, because we don't always move so quickly, but there's going to be, I don't know. Yes, there's some elements where you go, yep, that's the right message. I really enjoy that. And then there's some bits and you're like, that feels a little bit not quite right, or it could have been tweaked a bit better.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I agree. I don't disagree. It would be cool. Maybe we should do our own.
Yes.
I don't want to be sued though, so.
But I could be missing the point entirely.
No, I think it's like this art piece was created specifically to have conversations like this. So we should be having conversations like this. All right. So enter Jason Lau, a man from New South Wales in April of 2020. Okay. Rewind just 1 second. Sorry. This work had been around since 2020. It had people like talking about it, complaining about it. Men should be allowed in here, but there had been no like legal action had been taken.
Right.
So it had been around for 3 years before we get to this kind of pinnacle of this whole story. So enter Jason Lau from New South Wales. In April of 2023, Mr. Lau visited the Mona and he purchased a ticket for $35, expecting to have access to the entire museum. However, when he attempted to enter the ladies' lounge, he was refused entry. This refusal was a direct consequence of the lounge's design. And Mr. Lau was quite surprised by his denial. Feeling that he was being unlawfully treated, Mr. Lau lodged a complaint with the Tasmanian Civil and Administrative Tribunal.
The irony of it all.
Yeah, and he argued that the museum was violating Tasmania's Anti-Discrimination Act by failing to provide a fair provision of goods and services in line with the law. To him and other ticket holders who did not identify as female. So, let's jump into.
I mean, he's not wrong. Well, I mean, he shouldn't get in a big tiz about this because that's the whole point of the artwork.
Yes.
And he should respect that.
Yes.
But the technicalities of it is like.
We have this kind of thought process, especially when you're on a certain side, like no surprise where I probably sit in the whole scheme of like.
Oh, I wouldn't have let him in.
Yeah. But it's like I guess when we think about things like this, so, you know, the freedom of speech, when we talk about like that kind of thing, when it's on your viewpoint and your side, you go, yeah, I want to fight for this freedom of speech. But when it's your opposing argument, you don't want them to have freedom of speech, right?
Yes, yeah,
so
that's
like
exactly
if I'm saying, you know what, all people should be allowed to say what they want, you know, gay, straight, trans, whatever. But then someone is terribly racist, all of a sudden I go, no, that's hate speech. We don't want you to have freedom of speech, right?
Yes.
And there's a fine line. You don't know how, but if you're saying we want freedom of speech for everyone, it means you have to include everyone's freedom of speech.
Oh no, I don't want freedom of speech for everyone.
Yeah, see? So it's kind of like why you've got to think of like why when it's on my side do I want it?
A lot of people to shut up.
Oh yeah, always. I need you to pipe down, please. Yeah. So it's kind of like if you want this kind of thing, you've got to have it both ways. It's like if you want, I guess let's put it into, because it always comes back to bathrooms.
Yes.
It's like if you want people to be able to not be discriminated against if they're trans, then you've got to let everyone into, like, you know what I mean? So it's like you can't discriminate on gender.
Yep.
And that's what we're currently doing in this art piece.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Yes. Technically, yes.
Technically, yes.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, yeah. Interesting.
So I have no doubt that almost Mona and the team, the artist, I have no doubt that they've been waiting for this day since 2020.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner.
Yeah, I think that they would have like literally like, excellent, yes, take us to court.
Yes.
I think they had been waiting for a man to get so offended that it put them into the public sphere of we're taking this to court, and they went, perfect.
Gives this piece more power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mona's defense was articulated by the artist, and Oh, also, side note, the artist is the wife of the owner of Mona.
Ah,
I know.
interesting.
A little side. Mona's defense, articulated by the artist, was that Mr. Lau's experience of rejection is the artwork. He was supposed to experience it that way, meaning that he hadn't missed out on anything, but rather experienced the art as was intended.
He was part of the piece.
He was part of the piece. Although he is experiencing it different to how women would experience it, he's still got to experience it.
Yes.
Which is very smart. However, Mr. Lau maintained that the artwork's goal of addressing gender imbalance was vague and lacked sufficient context and thus did not promote equal opportunity. He wanted the lounge either closed or open to men. He also, so when he went to court, so there was a few things he wanted. He either wanted it open to everyone, closed to everyone, or he said men should only have to pay less for tickets.
God, the
that one I was like,
irony of it all.
I
Is
know.
that irony?
Yeah, I think it's 10,000 spoons. All you need is a knife.
Where's Lannis?
So
that's funny.
Yeah, I think that part I was like, you big dum-dum. I get the whole open to everyone, closed to everyone, but that little bit, Mona immediately said, we will not consider that last one. No matter what, we'll either do one or the other, but we will not even consider that.
There was no plaque describing what it was.
Oh, dear. The actual court case came forward in March of 2024. Jason Lau's argument was that he was discriminated against and the artwork was too vague for it to be kind of considered as something that should be happening. It's kind of like, well, this isn't a strong enough viewpoint or something. So therefore, Mona's defense was, no, you definitely experienced the artwork as we wanted to, and it's designed for this reason.
You're an extra special player in this artwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fun part of it all was that you ask an artist to come to court for this exact reason, going to put on a bit of a show. So when she was arriving at court, she arrived with an entourage of 25 female supporters. They were all dressed similarly in navy power suits, pearls and red lipstick. The group actually kind of engaged in choreographed movement throughout. They'd like cross their legs all at the same time. They'd walk in all at the same time. Like if they were leaning forward, all at the same time. It was fun. They also would some of them would be like reading books during court and it'd be like feminist texts and things like that. They're making a spectacle.
Yeah.
And even when the proceedings concluded, they danced out of the building in a conga line.
What a fun day in court.
To simply irresistible, might I add. So they were simply irresistible. And courts being court, they criticised this conduct as inappropriate, discourteous and disrespectful.
You know why they did that song? Because I think in the film clip, the women, so it's the guy singing, but the band behind him are all women and they're in suits with red lipstick. I don't think they're in pants, but they've got like the black razzmatazz stockings.
Yeah.
Like they look really powerful.
Yeah.
Like they look awesome in that music video.
Like this was a real spectacle and show. Like, and especially in a little Tasmanian court, they're probably like,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that's kind of how the court proceedings went along. Pretty dry and boring, I think, besides the little theatrics happening there.
Yeah.
But by April 10th of 2024, Tasmanian Civil and Administrative Tribunal delivered its highly anticipated ruling, and they actually sided with Jason Lau, making it, putting it at a point for the ladies' lounge. They had 28 days to either open it to everyone or close.
That sucks.
Mm-hmm. So the reasoning behind the ruling was that it was based on the interpretation that the ladies' lounge did not promote equal opportunity and therefore the complainant was discriminated against. Yeah, they just said, well, we're going to have to rethink what we're doing. So originally the artist kind of like a bit obviously disheartened. But so Hirscher developed a range of highly imaginative and provocative ideas for the lounge's future because she wanted to kind of keep it running and seeing if she could get around the laws. So she put through a few ideas forward of how she could kind of keep it so it was a predominantly female space. So she thought she could turn it into a religious institution, and essentially the women would come to the ladies' lounge or a church for Bible study, and they would learn about how women are depicted in the Bible. But on Sundays, the lounge would be open to men for personal enrichment and meditation, but the only way that they could participate is by ironing or folding laundry. That was one of her ideas. She also thought about turning it into moving the artwork into a toilet. So, so if she could put the ladies' lounge in a female toilet, then it would kind of, or if she turned the lounge into a toilet, it would kind of be, yes, you could legally not let men in.
Yeah.
I don't remember when I went if the toilets there are just all unisex or not, but if it
What year was this?
2024.
They probably would have been. Or there would have been unisex options, but then they might have also had
male,
specific,
female. And then she also thought maybe she could put it outside of law or jurisdiction and kind of travel it around on a cruise ship in international waters.
Oh, that's a lot of fluffing about.
I think so. Despite the ruling, they exceeded the 28 days, so they had to temporarily close the lounge. And then she gained further media attention by moving several artworks, including the Picasso, from the ladies' lounge into a female toilet at Mona. Mm-hmm. And that really caused a stir because everyone said, how dare you put a Picasso in the toilet. She moved the Picasso to the toilet.
Yeah.
People got mad.
Yes.
Probably more so than any other time.
You don't put it in the toilet.
No. What we do here.
No.
So after the ruling, they actually took the case to the Supreme Court because they wanted to challenge the law to consider a broader reading of its definition as they applied to art and the world. And as well, the right for conceptual art to make some people, brackets men, uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to do art and it's conceptual, it can make you uncomfortable and provoke.
Yep.
Should be outside of the law. And then on Friday, September 27th, 2024, the Supreme Court overturned the decision and ruled that Mona can reopen its ladies' lounge and continue to refuse entry. So the reason was that they found that the ladies' lounge qualified for an exemption under the state's Anti-Discriminatory Act, specifically the section that allows discrimination if it is intended to promote equal opportunity for a disadvantage.
Supreme Court were on board.
Yeah.
They said they got it. They're like, we got
They were doing beat poetry. Yeah. They're like, so they said, yep, go ahead, reopen. They gave women a glimpse of what it is like to be advantaged rather than disadvantaged. So there you go. They were allowed to reopen. Hirscher hailed the ruling as a big win and a day of triumph for women and the museum. She declared that it took 30 seconds for the decision to be delivered and 30 seconds to quash the patriarchy. She also thanked Jason Lau for bringing the case to the courts.
Attention.
Yeah. She said it invited people all over the world to think about the experience of women and the social structures we inhabit.
Yep.
She enjoyed every minute.
Oh, that's nice.
So while the Supreme Court overturned the decision, it kind of got sent back to the tribunal to work out like the legalities of everything. However, I believe what happened is they reopened it briefly again in 2024, and then it's since, I think they've since closed it.
Okay, so it wasn't there when you went?
No.
No.
Could have missed it though because it is a bit of a labyrinth there.
Yeah, okay.
And we didn't see everything, I don't think.
Yeah.
Also, a final note, the Picasso in the toilet. It was later revealed that these artworks were fakes that the artist had created herself.
Oh.
So apparently she had created the Picassos, fake Picassos, and it was all part of the work. Like, as soon as you know it's a Picasso and it's a male artist, oh, it's a Picasso.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't even Picassos.
Oh.
It was all a bit of a joke.
Yeah, cheeky.
And that is the story of Mona and the suing of these female spaces,
That's
I
so
guess.
fun.
It was
I'm glad that she enjoyed the process and it
Yeah.
wasn't like a big pain in her.
I'm surprised it took so long for someone to sue her. But I guess
Yeah.
in Australia, we are less likely to sue. If that had happened in America.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Would have been like opening day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I really I remember it happening while it was happening, but I wanted it to finish, like the whole story to be wrapped up before we talked about it on the podcast. And then,
I hadn't heard of it.
yeah, I remember the visual, which we will put in the video, of them going into the court together.
That ring a bit of a bell. Maybe I saw like a highlight of it or something like in a news broadcast or something. On the project.
It was probably on the project. Cheap seats, they did a recap. So yeah, that's the story.
Oh, that was fun.
I know.
I like that. Are there still gentlemen's clubs around where it's only gentlemen? Because I know like if you go to the strippers and stuff like that, everyone's allowed to go.
Yeah.
I have girlfriends who have gone to the strippers and had a
Go to
friggin'
Kittens.
blast.
Go to Kittens.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? 9 times out of 10, the women are going to appreciate the women more, regardless of.
I do know there was a particular club which the irony was just dripping with this one. So it was I won't name it, but it was a very renowned gay bar. Which everyone knows. Everyone in Melbourne and probably majority of the city in Australia know.
Yeah.
Because we're a bit famous for it. Had a policy where you had to have a certain amount of females with you. No, sorry. If you had a group of guys, you were only allowed like maybe 1 or 2 females in your party to enter.
Yeah.
They were very much like there can't be more girls than guys.
Yeah, it was very much if there was one female, it had to be like 5 men for every female.
Yeah, which was very. It doesn't happen anymore, I believe. But it didn't change that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it did change not that long ago.
I remember having to be in like a line with a group of men. You're all my friends, right? We can all, it's not just you and me, Joel.
You just put on like the fake glasses with the mustache.
Like,
Hello.
So? I do. Yeah.
Which was so weird because it was a gay bar, if I hadn't mentioned. It's a gay bar.
Yeah. And I remember though, like that would be the opposite of straight. Like that would happen at straight bars, but the opposite way around. It would be like too many men in here.
Too many men. Yeah, no,
we'll
we need the
refuse you
ladies.
entry.
Yeah.
But I don't, because it was the other way around, it felt different.
And weird.
Yeah.
Like females are our allies. And like.
Let them in. We just want to dance.
Dance. And it's a safe space for them to be. 'Cause it's a gay club. For God's sakes.
Want to dance to pop music and have a good time.
Yeah. But they do. This particular club doesn't do that anymore. Right?
I wonder, I do wonder now that we talk about it because there are so many like laws and we're fighting for so.
Might be secret, gentlemen.
And also I say we're fighting for so many things and then I'm like, well, everything's getting reversed. So there's just more. Maybe we should start our own gentleman's club, but it's not specific. It's just ladies and I was going to say ladies, they're gays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should go try and find one and then I'll dress up with a mustache.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to have a lot of money to get it.
I know that there are there's bath houses and stuff that have straight nights and the men if you're a single man,
Mm.
you have to pay upwards of hundreds of dollars to enter. You can only enter if you're a couple, because they're trying to alleviate the fact of single straight scary men going to these swingers events.
Yeah, interesting.
At a bathhouse in Melbourne. So they do have those nights. But yeah, if you're a single straight man, you have to pay a lot. And it's acted, that would be a law thing because it's almost like, you can't say no to a certain person going in, but let's up the price crazy for them to let in so it deters
the people who are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a great way of doing it.
Well, it's one way of doing it.
Yeah, true. And it's like also like how ridiculous.
Could be a crazy man with a lot of money.
And like how ridiculous that like that has to be a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as in like we're in a world where women can't even feel safe. You have to charge men a crazy amount of money to be in the environment.
Well, if you're going to a sex bathhouse,
I think
you need to ensure that everyone in there feels safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Mm.
Well, Joel, I hope everyone out there has a lovely week.
Yeah. I want to go to Tassie. Get me on the Spirit.
Honestly, I'd never been before.
Did you go on the Spirit?
No, we flew.
Oh, you flew.
And everyone, I'm sorry, just a little rant. Everyone tells me.
Oh, yeah. No, sometimes flying from city to city in Australia more expensive.
Should have gone to New Zealand, would have cost me the same amount of money.
Absolutely.
But
I'd go on the Spirit because I'd want a car.
Yeah.
I'd want my car there.
We rented a car and it was, you need a car.
Yep.
But yeah, highly recommend. Beautiful place.
Yeah. Dark Mofo just happens. Won't be on it.
Yeah, but plan ahead.
Plan ahead.
Maybe you want to go after hearing all of this fun controversy.
You're an artist. Maybe like you're clear of doing anything with rolling around in animal guts. And
yeah.
blood, but, you know, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I just know what I like and what I don't like.
Got blood on artwork.
Not blood on artwork.
Yeah,
oh,
God.
you Marilyn Man.
All right, until next time, goodbye.
Bye. I'll follow us on all the things. If we haven't said on all the things.
On all the things, come follow us and write something to us nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the conversation started.
Woo.
Bye.
Bye.